first bullet struck him in the shoulder. The second tore through his side. By the third, he could no longer feel his fingers. By the eighth, he was still standing, and the alien child behind him was still alive. The streets of the Kth Outpost had turned into a war zone in less than 60 seconds. Smoke rolled between shattered market stalls while blue plasma fire burned against the metal walls. Civilians screamed in languages most humans could not even pronounce. Sergeant Daniel Reyes had only been given one order: hold the evacuation corridor. Nothing heroic, just hold the line until the transport ships cleared. He was already bleeding when he noticed the child. Small, silver-skinned, for delicate arms wrapped tightly around its shaking body. Its guardian lay motionless beside it. The attackers were no longer aiming at soldiers. They were eliminating witnesses. Daniel didn't think. He moved. The first shot meant for the child slammed into him instead. He barely staggered. "Get down!" he shouted. Even though he knew the child couldn't understand English. Another shot. Then another. His armor cracked as warning lights flashed red inside his visor. Internal systems began failing one by one. The alien child stared up at him with wide, luminous eyes. More shots came. Daniel stepped forward again, widening his stance and turning himself into a shield. 8 bullets. 8 impacts. The world tilted sideways. He collapsed forward, hitting the stone ground hard, his body forming a wall over the child. His final conscious thought was simple. At least it wasn't them. Then everything went dark. When Daniel woke, silence did not greet him. Instead, there was a soft mechanical hum. Clean air flowed through unseen vents. Pain exploded across his chest as he tried to breathe deeply. His eyes snapped open. The ceiling above him was unfamiliar, smooth, white, nothing like the gray metal design of human military hospitals. He tried to sit up, but his body refused. Not because of restraints, but because of weakness. Transparent tubes ran from his veins to glowing medical columns. Soft blue light pulsed across his body in slow waves. Then the memories returned. Gunfire. The child. Falling. He turned his head and froze. 5 tall figures stood at the foot of his bed. Armored. Silent. Watching. Their armor was both ceremonial and deadly. Black alloy etched with silver lines that shimmered faintly. Their helmets resembled elongated skulls, with dim violet visors glowing in the shadows. Daniel recognized them instantly. The Varelian Honor Guard, elite warriors of the Varelian Dominion, the most feared military force across 3 star systems. And they were standing beside his bed. Daniel swallowed slowly. One of the warriors stepped forward. The movement was deliberate, controlled. The helmet folded back with a whisper of machinery, revealing a sharp, angular face with silver skin and faint bioluminescent markings. "You are awake," the warrior said calmly. Daniel's voice was dry. "Where's the kid?" A flicker crossed the warrior's expression. "Alive." The word filled the room. Daniel closed his eyes briefly. "Good." Pain surged again as he tried to move. "How bad?" he asked. 8 kinetic penetrations, the warrior replied. 2 within millimeters of cardiac termination. 3 fractured ribs. Severe blood loss. Daniel gave a faint smile. "So, not great." The warrior studied him carefully. "Why?" Daniel blinked. "Why what? Why did you shield the child?" Daniel frowned slightly. "Because someone was shooting at it. It was not your species." Daniel stared at him for a moment. "It was a kid," he said simply. Silence filled the room. The warrior's bioluminescent markings pulsed faintly. "You understood the risk." "Yes." "You continued advancing after the first impact." "Yes." "You repositioned after the 4th to increase coverage." Daniel remembered the movement, training, instinct, reaction. "I did what I could," he said quietly. The warrior's gaze remained steady. In Varelian doctrine, such an act is reserved for bonded kin. Daniel looked confused. "Bonded? You mean family?" He exhaled slowly. "Where I'm from, you don't let kids get shot. Doesn't matter whose." The atmosphere in the room shifted. Then, unexpectedly, the warrior knelt. The other 4 followed instantly. 5 elite Varelian warriors kneeling beside a human hospital bed. Daniel stared in shock. "This isn't necessary," he muttered. "It is," the warrior replied. "The child you protected is of high lineage." Daniel blinked slowly. "Meaning?" "He is the direct descendant of the Dominion's prime strategist." Daniel sighed softly. "Of course he is. If he had died," the warrior continued, "our retaliation would have ignited a sector-wide war." Daniel turned his head slightly. "Then I guess that's good. You prevented escalation between our species. I just stopped bullets. You altered history." Daniel fell quiet. "You're not here just to thank me," he said carefully. "No. Then why are you here?" The warrior stood slowly. "Because your action has invoked an ancient right." Daniel frowned. "In our culture, a life debt of this magnitude cannot be repaid with currency or medals." Daniel smirked weakly. "Good. I don't look great in medals. It is repaid with allegiance." The word felt heavy. "Allegiance," Daniel repeated. "The child's bloodline is now bound to yours until the debt is honored." Daniel's heart monitor spiked. "Hold on," he said. "I'm not joining your empire." "You misunderstand," the warrior said calmly. "You are not being claimed." "Then what?" "You are being protected." At that moment the door opened. A smaller figure walked inside. Silver skin, luminous eyes, bandages wrapped around 2 of its delicate arms. The child. Daniel's breath caught. "You're okay," he whispered. The child stepped closer to the bed and gently placed one small hand on Daniel's injured shoulder. Warmth flooded through his body. Not heat, energy. The medical monitors began changing rapidly. "What's happening?" Daniel asked. "Varelian high lineage possess regenerative resonance," the warrior explained. The child's eyes glowed brighter. Daniel felt the pain retreat from his body cell by cell. Broken ribs aligned. Internal bleeding slowed. "You're healing me," Daniel whispered. The child made a soft melodic sound. "It insists," the warrior said. Minutes passed as the glow slowly faded. Daniel flexed his fingers. Strength returned faster than human medicine should allow. "So the allegiance thing," he said. "I don't want soldiers following me around." "They will not." "Then what does it mean?" The warrior answered calmly. "It means any threat to your life is now considered a threat to the Dominion." Daniel stared. "You're serious?" "Yes." Daniel leaned back slowly. "I didn't do it for leverage." "We know." "Then don't turn it into politics." The warrior studied him. "In our society, strength is measured through conquest," he said. "You demonstrated strength through sacrifice." Outside the room, voices echoed. Humans and aliens alike. "The council of your people has requested clarification," the warrior added. "They're nervous," Daniel said quietly. "They should be." Daniel looked at the child. "What's your name?" The warrior translated the melodic response. "It is pronounced Lorraine." Daniel smiled faintly. "Lorraine." Moments later, the door opened again. The prime strategist of the Dominion entered. Authority radiated from every movement. The child ran to them instantly, wrapping 4 small arms around the tall figure. The strategist inspected the bandages, then turned toward Daniel. "You are the human," they said. "Yes. You chose my child over your own survival." Daniel shrugged slightly. "That's kind of how it works where I'm from." "In your culture?" "Yeah." The strategist stepped closer. "In ours, such devotion creates a blood bond." Daniel sighed softly. "Everyone keeps saying that. You changed the trajectory of 2 civilizations with a single act." "I wasn't thinking about civilizations." "That is why it matters." The strategist extended a hand. Daniel hesitated only a moment before shaking it. "From this moment," the strategist declared, "you are recognized as Guardian of Lorraine." Daniel's eyes widened. Guardian, a title of honor, not an obligation. Lorraine looked up at him brightly. Emotion rose unexpectedly in Daniel's chest. "I'm just a soldier," he said quietly. The strategist's expression softened. Today you were more. Outside the medical wing, the story had already spread. A human had shielded a Varelian high lineage child. 8 bullets. No hesitation. When Daniel was finally able to stand, the honor guard stepped aside. Not for a prisoner, not for a subordinate, but for something new. Human officers waited nervously on one side of the corridor. Varelian warriors stood on the other. For a moment, both sides were silent. Daniel looked at them all. "I didn't save him because he's important," he said quietly. "I saved him because he's a kid." The words echoed down the corridor. The strategist stepped forward. "And because of that," they said clearly, "our people will remember humanity not as rivals, but as protectors." The tension softened. Daniel looked down at Lorraine, who gently held one of his fingers. He had taken 8 bullets for an alien child. He had expected darkness. Instead, he woke to elite warriors kneeling beside his bed. Not to threaten him, not to judge him, but to honor him. And somewhere beyond those hospital walls, 2 civilizations had begun rewriting the story they told about each other, because one human chose to stand in front of gunfire and refused to move. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life. Rocket.